What I usually do on my drums is I'll find a place that is consistent. So let's listen to the chorus. I don't want a cymbal crash in there, so I'm gonna. So I'll probably grab from here and grab a little 3 bar. Let's add 4 bars. This is a 4 bar section, and I just want it to loop around. I'm going to zoom in real quick to the drums because I don't like for there to be a glitch when it loops around. So I'm going to hit Q. I'm going to go out in slip mode, and I'm just going to pull this marker over to the very beginning of the kick drum, and then I'm going to hit W, which is my shortcut for the back end of this edit here. So if I hit Q and W, you see this waveform stays the same. That means it's going to loop around without any glitches or anything like that. So I'm going to let this play for a minute, and then I'm just going to adjust the drums. Check the phase of that. Let me turn off the compressor here. Basically, EQ is off, filter is off, and really all we're checking here is phase. So here's the snare. I'm going to listen to it in mono real quick. That's one thing I love about this guy right here is you can just hit the mono button, and we're listening in mono now. Yeah, the snare sounds more full. That's the phase is inverted. So we're just checking the phase of all these things. So the phase is inverted there and it sounds thin. The phase is off here, so listen to see how much thinner it sounds. So we're sure that that's good. So I usually don't check the hi-hat just because I don't use the hi-hat enough to really warrant it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm making sure the hi-hat, the overheads are good. So let's find a place where the toms are playing. Let's loop it here. Going back to checking the phase of the tom here. Okay, let's just isolate that tom real quick. Now I've got the overhead. Let's do the overhead. It sounds like it's got a little bit more girth if it's out of phase. So let's take a look at that real quick. I'm going to put it in slip mode and zoom in a little bit more and see if what we're seeing is true here. You see this tom goes down first, the attack of the tom, and the attack of this tom in the overheads also does it too. But by the time it gets to where the tom is, this one's going up and this one is coming down. You see? Now we could adjust that and everything, but for now all I'm going to do is just flip the phase to whichever one sounds the biggest and best. And I'm not going to go into too many details on this. There are some plugins that will help you with this, but I'm just going to go old school in it and pretend like there is no technology like that, like we're mixing on analog, and I'm just going to choose between in phase and out of phase. So I'm going to isolate this tom again. And it definitely sounds fuller out of phase. Do you see how that goes? Okay, so I'm going to copy this one down since I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to listen to this one now. Not much. No wonder. I was going to say I couldn't hear that much difference, but it's because I'm affecting this one. I'm going to try this one. So as you can see, when this light is on, the tom is a little fuller, right? Okay, so let's listen to the low tom now. Copy this down and make sure that I'm editing this one. Now that's a subtle one, but it does sound a little bit better when it's out of phase. And you can kind of tell a little bit more subtle there. It's a very small, that's the overhead, and it's going down first. And this is going down first, so that technically they're in phase with each other because but it sounds better this way, right? Now we could pull, another thing we could do, which I'm not going to do in this one, is we could actually move the overheads to where everything lines up with the overheads. Because if you think about it, when you strike a tom, there's a mic sitting right on the tom, and it's getting a sound really quick, right? Because it's only inches from the head. This guy is a couple of feet above the tom, so it's getting its impulse just a few milliseconds behind. And as you can tell, this is what it looks like. This is the low tom where he hits it, and this is where the overhead picks it up. So if you look here and we were to change the grid to minutes and seconds, you could see, well, let's move this grid to minutes and seconds, and that way you can see that it's like 7 milliseconds. Let's look at frames. How many samples it is behind. 382 samples late on that. So that's what we can do on those. One thing, I may show this in a later video or send you to another video where we can actually nudge this tom to where it hits here. On this song, it might not be as effective. We're just going to stick with this for now. So as you can see, the toms, the first tom is inverted, the second tom is inverted, third tom it's subtle, but it needs to be inverted. That's the decision we made. And the overhead is not inverted, but it does have a filter on it because it had a lot of low end in it. Imagine how much, if we didn't have the low end carved off the overheads, how much more difference that would make. So anyway, okay, so let's listen to